Good evening, everybody, again. This is episode 2 of the one and only Chilani Sports Vlog. Tonight, I will be covering questions that you guys have asked for me to bring up. I'm going to tackle them in chronological order, so don't get angry if I don't tackle yours first quickly. Keep sending the emails, keep sending the texts, keep sending the Facebook IMs. I will cover it. Before I get into the show tonight, Gentry, a listener of this vlog, I wanted to plug in the National Collegiate Roller Hockey Association. My college that I graduated from, Western Michigan, is in it right now, and they're trying to get into the national. So if you guys are bored on a Saturday, check it out. It's online. You can stream it. It's www.ncarha.org. It's Division 2. If you guys want to check that out, go right ahead. Now shifting into what I'm going to tackle tonight, I'm going to tackle some college football, some college and pro football this evening. If I get time, I'm going to tackle what I wanted to tackle because today is one of my favorite days. I get giddy because today is the start of spring around the corner for me. As well, I'll tackle probably some professional basketball as well. And whatever else I want to tackle, I'll tackle it as well. I'm into college basketball. People have asked me to cover some of that as well, and I will be doing that as well. The first thing I will take care of is Lance's question. He goes, "What are my thoughts in the college recruiting, and how do I look at the rating system by Rivals and ESPN?" I look at it as and you guys know it's a what have you done for me lately system now. And I don't look at college. It's different because the speed of college and pro is a whole lot different. And it's different between high school and college as well. I can't look into the rankings because, okay, you're a five-star athlete coming out of Florida or Texas or California. Okay, but you're coming into college. You're a five-star what? You haven't even stepped on the field. How can you be a five-star recruit if you haven't shown anything yet? I can't look into these rankings so high because you don't know what you're going to get. You won't know what you're going to get at least three years from now. And that's why I don't see him as big. I don't see him as high. I know it's becoming a huge thing now yearly with 14 hours on ESPNU with the college recruitment signings and whatnot. I know I've got people that love to talk about it. I used to do it with college basketball, but now it's just a whole lot different because you don't know what you're going to get from recruits and where they're coming from, and you don't know what their psyche's going to be once they step on the court or step on the field. So you can't really look in these rankings and, oh, we had a top 10 class, but yeah, you can't really look into that. I'm going to give a decent example now. When we were kids, we didn't even know the rankings unless you were seriously into it. And when you're coming from high school to college, you had to pay your dues, and you could only start when you're upperclassmen. That's changed. The talent's getting better and younger. For example, Jameis Winston, from Florida State, and when he was recruited by Florida State, he was the 10th best quarterback coming out from what I've heard and read. Can somebody remind me what Jameis Winston did last year? Oh, that's right. Won the national championship at Florida State and also won the Heisman. And he's going to still be around for another year, which he might be possibly the second back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner, the first since the 1970s by Archie Griffin in Ohio State. That's why I don't seriously think these rankings are too legit, because like you said, you don't know what you're going to get. Alright, I'm going to RC's question. What is my opinion on the Marcus Smart debacle that happened last weekend? If you guys didn't see it or didn't watch it, it was Oklahoma State versus Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State was about to lose the game. There was a heckling fan that reports have came out, and he said he's done it in the past. He has heckled in the past. Said something to Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart got pissed, pushed the fan. Marcus Smart had to come out the next day on SportsCenter, do a public apology and all that stint. What I think of it is Marcus Smart needs to get a reality check. Marcus and I will put the blame on all three. And you're going to saying, wait a second, Chaloni, there's only two. No, there's three. Marcus Smart is a third to blame. The stupid heckling fan is to blame, and I'll also blame the university. Where the is the security? I'm sorry, at a sporting event, in a big sporting event, especially when this is a Big 12 basketball game, where is security? Security needs to be around and taking care of the dumb of these fans. I also blame the fan because it's just stupid. Congratulations, you just got your stupid 15 seconds of fame. For what? Picking on a college kid who's not even a pro athlete yet? Good job, moron. But Marcus Smart as well needs. I also blame Marcus Smart. He should know better. He's gonna be a lottery pick. He's gonna possibly have to be a top 5 pick in June. If he goes to a city like L.A., Chicago, and New York, which I believe 2 to 3 are lottery teams right now, he gonna get eaten alive. Because L.A. huge sports fan city. New York's the same. Philly's also the same. Philly fans are probably the most ruthless fans of them all. I think Marcus Smart needs to realize he needs to put all those emotions in check and set that aside, because if he don't do that here in another year, he is gonna get eaten he's gonna eat in the spit and shoot out in the pros with fans. And I can guarantee that. That's my opinion on the Marcus Smart debacle. Okay, the day after the Marcus Smart debacle, Michael Sam, the former defensive end of Missouri, came out publicly saying he was gay. This is one of the show topics I wanted to cover since it came out this week. This is the beginning of the gay athlete. People already know about Jason Collins of last year, NBA player. He's in his mid-30s. Came out and said he was gay, but this is a little bit different. Jason Collins is at the tail end of his career. Michael Sam is a NFL draft prospectee, as I should say. Originally, before he came out, he was going to be a 4th to 5th rounder. I got a gut feeling he might be undrafted. I hope that's not the case. We'll wait and see when the combine happens. I believe that's 2 weekends away. I commend Michael Sam for coming out. We're no longer in a society where you don't have to hide it. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm predicting that by the end of the decade, you will see at least multiple athletes coming out either before they're in their sport career-wise or early into their career-wise coming out and saying that they are gay. And if I'm an NFL coach, I'd tell them straight up. I said, don't bring your personal life into the locker room, and be mentally prepared to go to war for 5.5 months. You can do that. We'll figure out a spot for you on the team. The coaches better get ready, because a kind of a different situation with the Jonathan Martin, Richie Incognito bowling scandal that just came out today with the 142 pages of the Wells scandal. I'm not going to even tackle that with a 10-foot pole, because that's just a whole lot of. It's like 3-4 different sides, and that's just a crazy cluster, massive. But I commend Michael Sam for coming out and doing that. I give him mad props. It must have been really tough, and I think his dad needs to accept it and move on with it, and he should be happy for his son, who's going to possibly play in the NFL next year. And if Michael Sam doesn't get drafted or get signed, I got a bad feeling that the NFL is going to be even in more trouble, because he can now turn around, sue the NFL for equal opportunity, and then the Gay and Lesbian Rights Committee, and then ACCP because he's African American. Then it's going to become a whole ugly mess. And the NFL doesn't need another ugly mess right now, because the NFL concussion lawsuit's still an ongoing battle with the former retired players that's had concussions and the NFL, and that's still going on a mess. And the NFL needs to focus on that too. So they need to really get this in control here, because then even though I'm a huge football fan, you can't. I know it's a sport, but you also got to know it. Every professional sport's also a business too, and you can't have the business side looking bad as well. Now I'm gonna tackle Derek's question. He wanted me to roll into my crystal ball for March and tackle some March Madness. I can't wait. It's about a month away, aka embrace the madness. That's the motto of March. I like Syracuse being the #1 seed. They're legit. If you guys missed that Syracuse Pitt game with Jeff Ennis hitting a 35-footer to beat Pitt in Pitt, and the crazy thing is the kid's only a freshman. And if you guys watch the video, he kept the eye on the clock the whole entire time and just daggers a 35-footer, which is just unbelievable. I do want to say, though, that Syracuse does need to lose a game, because I don't know if Syracuse can live up to the history of being undefeated like the 92 UNLV Running Rebels, and that was a squad right there. Stacey Augmon, who I will say was one of the most underrated defensive point guards in the league in the 90s. And then one of my favorite power forwards with his ultra persona of Grandmama, Larry Johnson. And that team was just unbelievably scary. And they ran gut shot. And that's the kicker right now. Syracuse is not like the 92 UNLV squad. Let's get real on that one. Even though there's going to probably be multiple prospects coming off the Syracuse team as well, but I don't think it's just as good as the 92 squad, in my opinion. I see Syracuse being the #1 seed in the East, but like I said, this is a month away, so anything could change. I like Arizona, the #1 seed in the West. I like Florida being the #1 seed in the South. And then this is where it gets crazy, because looking at the standings, the committee might look at putting like maybe a Michigan State or a Kansas or a AQ conference team instead of a mid-major, because I think the committee's going to look again going, do we really want to do another Gonzaga situation from last year and put a mid-major on the one line? I don't know. They might look at Villanova as well as for the number 1 seed, but I think that fourth number 1 seed right now is up in the air. I can't really say. If I would get my crystal ball out, I would say Michigan State on a hunch, because Michigan State can get healthy. They only need Brandon Dawson back and start freight training the Big Ten. I'll guarantee that Michigan State will be the fourth number 1 seed in the March Madness tournament, in the tourney. I can see that, and then I see the number 2s will definitely, the mid-majors, you'll see both the mid-majors at the 2 line of San Diego State, Wichita State, Villanova is a possible good 2, and Kansas, I believe, will be a possible number 2. And all my Michigan fans right now, I can see them being a mid-3 to a mid-4 right now, unless they can keep producing and kicking out wins and see how they do in the Big Ten tourney. Two more things I'm going to bring up, and then I'm gonna end this episode for the week. Or I might just bring up one more, even though I wanted to tackle baseball very quickly, but I still might do it because I love baseball. So, I'm gonna bring up my buddy Brent. I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah, what up, Brent? I'm going to. And I want to thank all my friends too, as well, before I tackle this last topic that is a question topic. I want to thank you guys for doing that. You guys know me. I love talking about this and covering all this, so I want to thank you guys for bringing up topics like this. He wanted me to do Trelawney, go into your crystal ball and give me a pre-NFL Combine top 10, and I will go team by team. As you guys know, the Combine's in 2 weeks, I believe. I believe it's the last weekend of this month. And it's going to be kind of weird with this draft, because in my opinion, there's 5 quarterback needy teams, and it's going to be crazy with only 3 or 4. But that's the kicker. I think, in my opinion, the best quarterback in this draft, I believe, is Blake Bortles, the quarterback from UCF. And I think he's the real deal. I may be nuts. I'm saying I think he's the poor man, the Andrew Luck right now. He might be as good as Andrew Luck here in a couple of years, but that's a wait and see. And that's who I see Houston taking with the number 1 pick. It's going to be hard because you got Bob McNair, the owner, wanting the defense of Javion Clowney and having the so mighty J.J. Watt on the other side. But you got a new coach who's an offensive-minded coach who doesn't have a QB there. I'm sorry, Matt Schaub's going to be gone. He's going to be cut. Case Keenum's proved that he's not a starting quarterback. He's a number 2 at best. And this is where I think new coach is going to win over owner, because they need a quarterback. They need a franchise quarterback in Houston. And that's where I see Blake Bortles going with the number 1 pick. The number 2 pick now becomes a little bit more chaotic because it's St. Louis. And people are going, wait a second, how does St. Louis have the number 2 pick, but Washington had the second worst record? This pick was from the RG3 draft. Washington moved up to get RG3. St. Louis was in that spot. They got this year's number 1 from Washington. I think if St. Louis stays in the slot, they're going Jake Matthews, the offensive tackle from Texas A&M. And yes, it is another Matthews. It is, I believe, the other brother, or the last brother of the Matthews clan, like Clay Matthews and Casey Matthews with the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. But I can also see St. Louis trading down because the 3 teams behind them need a quarterback or need a different need. Jacksonville. We already know Jacksonville's horrible, and they're done with Blake Gabbert. They've already said they want to use Chad Henne as a backup, and I think Henne now is going to probably be only a backup at best, which I hate because I love Chad Henne, and he can produce when he can. But the kicker is that Henne's best days are behind him now, in my opinion. Cleveland's just a giant mess. It's just they need help everywhere on the offensive side. The defense is actually underrated, and I like Cleveland's defense. They've got some decent talent on that defense. And then my other second team is I hate saying this, but it's the Oakland Raiders. They're always in the top 10. And Jacksonville needs a quarterback. Cleveland doesn't have a quarterback. Brandon Weeden will be traded. They might stick with Brian Hoyer. They like Brian Hoyer, but we'll wait and see if that happens. Oakland right now, we've seen Terrell Pryor try to do it. He's not a number 1 quarterback. Matt McGloin's the number 2 at best. Pryor's a backup at best as well. I could see St. Louis possibly trading down if they want to trade down. This is a very viable number. This is a very viable slot where I could see St. Louis trading down because of that reason of Jake Matthews and the need with the other 3 teams I just mentioned. But if St. Louis stays there to take Jake Matthews, the offensive tackle from Texas A&M. Number 3, this is where it gets fishy because you guys know we never know what Jacksonville's going to do in the draft when they're in the top 10. We saw Justin Blackman. Blackman's going to be gone. We saw Alalu a couple of years ago, the defensive end. He's gone off the grid. I think they need to make this the smart pick. They can look at a reliable option for quarterback. Quarterback is going to be heavy again draft wise next year in 2015 with Mariota coming out and a couple other big name possibly Gardner can step his game up. And there's a couple other ones right now that I can't remember off the top of my head. But they need to go the safe route and the smart pick, and that's Jadeveon Clowney. Gus Bradley's the coach from Seattle, the old defensive coordinator, and Gus Bradley loves speed. And Clowney fits that mold. He has a motor beyond belief. And that's where I see I could see Jacksonville going Jadeveon Clowney without a shadow of a doubt. If he's not there, then it gets a little bit more crazier. But it's either going to be Jadeveon Clowney or Teddy Bridgewater, in my opinion, at 3 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cleveland is number 4. This is where I just throw up my hands and say I don't know. Because, like I said, Cleveland has so many issues on offense. They don't have a running back. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have any receivers. You don't know where to go with Cleveland. I think they're gonna go with Johnny Manziel. You need a name, and Johnny Manziel is a name, and that's what I see Cleveland doing. They've got another pick with the Trent Richardson trade in the low 20s, and they can go running back receiver there. Because I don't think they're going to be, unless they like Derek Carr. Derek Carr will be in the low 20s, in my opinion. I don't know. It depends on if Minnesota decides to do something at 8 with Derek Carr. But I've also been hearing rumors that they're linked to Ryan Mallett, and that could be possibly sending a third over to New England for Ryan Mallett. But that's a wait and see on that. But I think Cleveland will go Johnny Manziel with the 4. To my Raiders, the Raiders are in the same boat as Cleveland. They got some decent defensive talent, not a lot, but there's so many holes on the offensive side. Receiver, there's nothing there at receiver. Running backs, McFadden's gone. They got Marcel Reese still, but that's the kicker. Marcel Reese is a hybrid back. I like him getting 5 to 10 touches and then coming out and getting screen passes. He's like an a bigger Reggie Bush to me as Marcel Reese for me. I think Oakland goes get Sammy Watkins. It's the smartest move. What I've read is Oakland has almost $70 million in cap space. Can't believe I'm saying that, but a lot of dead money's finally coming off the books. Like, oh, let's go feed another hamburger to Jamarcus Russell coming off the books. Finally, thank God. I'm so happy that contract is dead, gone, and buried. People shouldn't even start asking me on Jamarcus Russell. It's just god awful. Atlanta is at 6, and this is where it gets a little shaky to me because Tony Gonzalez is done. Even though there's some rumors floating that he might come back, but I really don't think so. Steven Jackson looked good when he was healthy. Julio Jones, I don't know if Julio Jones is going to be the same Julio Jones again. That's the wait and see. Roddy White is another year older, and we saw him getting hit with the injuries. I could see them going offense, but their defense is lacking speed and talent on the defensive side, and I think they're going to go Khalil Mack from Buffalo. I wish I got to see this guy play because he was a Mack guy. I wish they played at Western this year. I'm not 100% sure. I wish if somebody at Western or is in the KZoo area, hit me up and let me know if that game was at Western last year, because I would have been very sad. I wanted to see Khalil Mack play. I think he's going to be a legit. They need a pass rusher. Or they need a linebacker. I see Khalil Mack going to Atlanta. I think hands down, it's smart. That's the way to go. Tampa's at 7, and their offensive line is getting old, and they were injury riddled last year. I think they're going the second best offensive tackle, and that's Greg Robinson from Auburn. It fits a need. Like I said, Mike Glennon is a second-year guy. They got receivers. They got Vincent Jackson and Mike Williams on the other side. They've got Doug Martin. If he can stay healthy, they can get that line fixed. Tampa Bay is going to be a very scary team because with Lovie Smith coming in and with the defensive guy, that defense is going to be all systems go. And I think Tampa Bay might be a team to look out for if they can fix some of the offensive side. Minnesota's at 8. And this is where it becomes a double-edged sword because Minnesota has nothing on defense and they have almost nothing on offense. So this is a coin flip because the only thing that Minnesota has on offense is the oh so mighty I'm a robot machine Adrian Peterson. hands down. And once Adrian Peterson retires, there could be some debates. He might, you can argue, maybe the greatest running back of all time. But we'll hit that road will be hit in about 4 to 6 years, in my opinion. That's the kicker. And plus, the quarterback situation is just a crazy, crazy mess. Christian Ponder is the only quarterback on roster. Josh Freeman is going to get let go. Matt Castle is going to get let go too. They're either going to trade down or they're going to draft Anthony Barr, the defense end linebacker from UCLA. That's the only two options I see right now. I don't see anything else with Minnesota. It's either going to be trade down or they're going defense in that pick. To Buffalo. And this is where I see the first tight end coming off the board, because former Lion coach Jim Schwartz is going to Buffalo, and they've got a very, very good defense. They got a second-year quarterback in Mr. Samuels. What, Heather? Shush. And I think that I think a tight end's going to come off the board here, and I think it's going to be Eric Ebron, the tight end from Carolina. They need some help at the tight end position. They need help at the receiver position, and he needs some EJ needs some weapons, and I think Eric Ebron from Carolina will be going at 9. Now to my Lions fans sitting at 10. They're going, oh great, where's Trelawney going to go here? That's the kicker. Where's Trelawney going to go here with this? Because we all know that the Lions need a receiver. They just cut Burleson yesterday. They let go of Delmas. And it's just Calvin sitting on an island by himself. But their corners are just horrible. I think Chris Houston's a decent number 2. He's not a number 1. And it's a receiver heavy draft. So this is where I think they're going to go corner. I don't think they're going to go Justin Gabriel. I think they're going to go Denard from Michigan State, and they're going to keep it local. I think it's a safe pick, a good pick. I think Denard from Michigan State will go to 10 at the corner slot. I don't, like I said, they can go receiver in round 2. But I know there's a round 2 jinx with receivers with the Lions, with the last 2 receivers that they have taken with Ryan Broyles and mental head case, I'm in jail, Titus Young. That's a top 10. You guys can knock on it. I like mock drafts, and I also look at needs as well. But like I said, it's going to be a very, very Harry Carey situation with the draft. Thank God for the Pistons firing Joe Dumars. I hope they're firing Joe Dumars. I'm glad they fired Mo Cheeks. I want Joe D gone. 8 coaches since Joe D's been there. Times for a change for a new GM. I've almost gone 35 minutes. Like I said, I want to thank you guys again. I'm gonna save pitchers and catchers next week. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna watch the skills competition tomorrow. There's a new dunk contest style. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna probably watch it, and I'll give my opinion on it next week. I'm not happy about it, but we'll wait and see. I want to see if it's gonna be okay. Yeah, because next week's going to be a slow week with the end of the Olympics, which I really don't care about. The NBA All-Star Game, which you guys got my opinion on last week. So I will be covering without topics next week. If I don't get people giving me topics next week, without a shadow of a doubt, the first thing I will be covering, you'll be getting the Crazy Choloni, the one and only Crazy Choloni's crystal ball of baseball predictions early for the year. So, happy overrated holiday to everybody. I hate this day. Thank God it's almost done and over with. Like I said, keep bringing in the emails, the texts, and the IMs. IM me at Facebook on James Choloni. Email me at james.choloni@wmich.edu. And whoever's got my number, text me back with a topic. I thank you guys much. Have a good weekend. And episode 3, like I said, I do it when I've got a quiet, empty house or when it's quiet. So it depends on what day it is. It may be next Sunday, but it's like I said, it's to be determined with the weekly schedule. I do it when I can. So, but I appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot, and have a good weekend.